There are hundreds of treasures lost all over the world. Some are lost in the tropical forests, some in the deserts, where no one is likely to ever find them. However, most treasures are sunk in the sea, in the depths where no man can ever dream of reaching. Well, man created robots to reach humanly impossible depths. 5 years ago, the discovery of a 10-year-old shipwreck was found in the sea by an underwater robot. What exactly was this ship transporting? Join us in looking at this underwater robot that found shipwrecked treasures worth over $17 billion. $17 billion worth of treasures found by a robot. The discovery of a Spanish shipwreck that could contain treasures worth up to $17 billion in the Caribbean Sea was a revelation. The shipwreck was found with bronze cannons engraved with dolphins. This was the telltale sign that the ship belonged to the Spanish galleon San Jose and was lost over 300 years ago. Jeff Cayley, a research engineer with the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, was the first to spot the wreckage. He was alone in the bunk when he discovered the cannons. According to him, he was just there and smiled for about 10 minutes. Despite not being a marine archaeologist, he recognized what a cannon looked like. So, at that moment, he was the only person in the world who knew about the discovery of such a treasure cove. The location of the wreckage remains a secret, but the wreckage was discovered in November 2015 off the coast of Cartagena, Colombia. It contained a cargo of gold, silver, and emeralds that are valued at about $17 billion in today's market. The treasure was discovered by the Remus 6000, which is owned and operated by Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute in Massachusetts. The underwater robot found the sunken ship 2,000 feet below the surface. Initially, it scanned the seafloor using a long-range sonar, and later returned to take photos of anything out of the ordinary, and this treasure was out of the ordinary. The good thing about technology, according to Cayley, is that you can afford to take bigger risks and go to places not feasible to send a human being to. The ship was sunk by the British warships in 1701, along with its crew of 600. The location remains a secret because all of the treasures remain underwater. Because the treasure was found off the coast of Colombia, and the shipwreckage belongs to a Spanish man but was discovered by God's own country, the United States, each country is now trying to lay claim to ownership, and now it has evolved into a dispute. But first, what exactly is the galleon San Jose? San Jose is a Spanish ship designed by Francisco Antonio Garrote and built by Pedro de Arostegui at the shipyard in Mapil, Usurbil, Guipúzcoa, Spain. Construction for the ship began in 1697 and ended in 1698. They built 2 ships and named them San Jose and San Joaquin. San Jose and San Joaquin were built to be part of the Spanish treasure fleet during the War of Spanish Succession under General José Fernández de Santillán, the Count of Casa Alegre. On its final voyage, San Jose sailed as the flagship of a treasure fleet composed of 3 Spanish warships and 14 merchant vessels sailing from Portobello, Panama to Cartagena, Colombia. San Jose is a 3-mast, 64-gun vessel. On June 8, 1708, the fleet encountered a British squadron near Baru, leading to a war known as the Wagers' War. During the battle, the powder magazines of San Jose detonated, destroying and sinking the ship with most of her crew, and the gold, silver, emerald, and jewelry collected in the South American colonies to finance the Spanish king's war effort. Of the 600 people aboard, only 11 survived the dastardly explosion. The enormous value of this cargo has led to San Jose being called the Holy Grail of Shipwrecks. However, 2015 was not the first time that the shipwreck was claimed to have been found. A group of investors from the United States called the Glocka Moracobra, operating under the name Sea Search Armada, SSA, claimed to have found the shipwreck off the coast of Colombia in 1981. However, Colombia would refuse to sign a 65-35% contract share offer and refused the SSA permission to conduct full salvage operations at the wreck site. The Colombian parliament then passed a law giving the state the right to all treasure, leaving the SSA only a 5% finder's fee and still going ahead to tax them at 45%. The SSA sued the Colombian government in its court in 1989. In July 2007, the Supreme Court of Colombia concluded that any treasure recovered would be split equally between the Colombian government and the explorers. SSA would subsequently sue in the United States court, but the case was dismissed twice, once in 2011 and the other in 2015 on technical grounds, and the galleon was then declared the property of the Colombian state. However, the Colombian government declined to verify that the galleon was at the coordinates stated in the case. Colombian President Gustavo Petro wants the recovery of San Jose to be one of the priorities of his administration before his term ends in 2026. Culture Minister Juan David Correa told Bloomberg that the president has told them to pick up the pace. This promise to recover the wreckage comes at a time when there is an ongoing dispute over who owns the treasure. Claims have also been made by Bolivia's indigenous Caracara nation, which claims that the Spanish people extracted the wealth from its people. Rota treasure. San Jose is not the only treasure that has been found in recent times. The Srota treasure is also one very valuable treasure that man has stumbled on in recent times. It is a treasure hoard of gold and silver coinage, with gold jewelry, royal regalia, and precious stones. It was found in the years 1985 and 1988 during renovation works at the Silesian town of Srota, Śląska, Poland. The artifacts date back to the mid-14th century and comprise over 3,000 pieces. Today, this treasure is the property of the National Museum in Wrocław and has been kept at the Regional Museum in Srota, Śląska. Gold and silver coins were first discovered during demolition works and digging for the foundation of the local telephone exchange building in the town of Srota on 8 June 1985. The authorities also secured the original find, a vase filled with approximately 3,000 Prague groschen, but no serious archaeological study was carried out at the time. 3 years later, on 24 May 1988, during another demolition in the vicinity of the first discovery, another even bigger find was reported, including silver and gold florin coins. Most of this new find disappeared before the site was secured by the authorities. In the following days, as enterprising individuals scoured the municipal landfill, where rubble from the other recently demolished buildings was deposited, reports of discovery started appearing. Those include the first reports of jewelry. Archaeologists began to investigate the site, and the government announced a plan to buy back items that had been looted. The government would eventually launch an investigation, targeting those who had refused to return the items that they had taken. Although a lot of items were recovered, some items are still reportedly missing. Over the years, archaeologists and historians have speculated about the treasure's origins, while museums and wealthy individuals have competed for pieces of the treasure. It is now agreed that the treasure belonged to the king, turned Emperor Charles IV of the House of Luxembourg. Around 1348, needing funds to support his claim to the title of the King of Romans, Charles pawned off various items to the Jewish banker Musko in Srota. The town was then part of the Duchy of Wrocław and passed under the reign of Bohemian kings in 1335. What is most certain, however, is that no one ever reclaimed the treasure, which was left hidden somewhere in the town for 100 years. A book published in 2005 estimated the treasure to be worth around $100 million. Some of the recovered treasures include a gold woman's crown, which probably belonged to Blanche of Valois, the first wife of the Emperor Charles IV, 2 gold pendants dating back to the 12th century, 2 gold pendants that date back to the 13th century, a ring with heads of dragons, a ring with sapphire, 39 gold coins, and a ring with a moon and star. This is a treasure that even predates the San Jose. The world is littered with treasures all over, some of which have been found, some will be found, and some will have disappeared forever.